What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla vs. Kong news roundup. This one runs through March of 2021, as all of the ones coming out around this time do. Starting out, Talent House and Warner Bros. Hosted an official Godzilla vs. Kong meme campaign asking everybody to submit their best memes of Godzilla vs. Kong, saying that the top 16 will be chosen, each winning $500. I never really saw what came out after this competition, but I hope some good ones were made. I hope some people came up with some good stuff. I think my personal favorite was the leaked photos of Madison, Russell, and Josh. I think that was probably my favorite. Next up, North Marion High School hosted a Godzilla vs. Kong competition. It was less of a competition and more of like they were running statistics at this school. They were trying to see who would win between Godzilla and Kong. It was some good old-fashioned reporting, as this news report says. So the competition was between Godzilla and Kong. They eventually came to the conclusion that Godzilla and Kong would tie, or that it is a tie, that it could go down either way, and that it's impossible to know who the winner is without watching the movie. I agree, it can go down either way. All you need is a different writer, and it would have happened differently. That's the way fictional versus matches work. Adam Wingard had a headline that kind of got swept under the rug. I mean, I remember getting a little bit of press, but not a lot. Maybe that's because it comes from slashfilm.com, which is a website I've never heard of and could very well be clickbait BS. But according to this article, Adam Wingard did an interview with them in which he stated that at one point, Peter Jackson was eyeing him to make a sequel to King Kong from 2005. Now, the King Kong 2005 movie was a big hit, but because of its massive budget, it didn't make enough to warrant a sequel. After a long time, around 2013, apparently, that just seems crazy to me. They were in development for a movie called Skull Island, where Peter Jackson was a little bit involved, and he was looking at Adam Wingard to helm the next project. I don't know why they would have waited until 2013 to make a sequel to King Kong. This Skull Island pitch, I believe, eventually turns into the early World War pitch of Skull Island, and it eventually fell into the hands of Jordan Vogt Roberts, who went, what if it was set in the 70s instead of prior to the 33 story? And then it was part of the MonsterVerse, and eventually that becomes Kong Skull Island. I'm very glad that it went down the way it went down. I think that was a much better result. I am much happier with Kong Skull Island than I would have been with a King Kong 2005 prequel. I don't think that's needed, even if it was a sequel to King Kong 2005. I don't think that's needed. I think that that movie is a perfect standalone film. I think Kong Skull Island is an incredible movie, and I would have been very sad if it didn't come out. The world is better off for it, I think. I guess because this happened, because Adam Wingard was picked by Peter Jackson to work on this new Kong movie, even though of course it never happened. Mary Parent, someone who runs Legendary, one of the producers, had always remembered that and remembered Adam Wingard, so when the time came for Godzilla vs. Kong, Wingard didn't need to pitch for the movie. Mary Parent remembered him and was just willing to give him the job. Adam Wingard, speaking of, is really good with the Godzilla vs. Kong fan base. I think he's one of the few directors who really connects with and cares about his fans. It's really sad that his social media presence has dwindled to the point where it is now non-existent, because at the time of Godzilla vs. Kong, he put together a trailer compilation of his favorite trailer reactions to the movie. It is super fun. I mean, it's great for whoever wound up in here. To be recognized by the director for your excitement over his movie is super cool. Obviously, I was never gonna win that. My trailer reactions have been always a little underwhelming because I'm not really an expressive reactor. I don't feel the need to pump my reactions even a little bit for views. I react very genuinely to myself, and that means that I react very subtly. Not to say don't get excited, but to say my reactions tend to start after the trailer, not during it. Now, I want to rectify something I had said in a previous video where I mentioned that Godzilla vs. Kong was #1 on trending. I think I said it was only trending on YouTube for a few days. I have it written down here, which is really cool. Godzilla vs. Kong was trending #1 on YouTube for over 2 full weeks. So huge shout out to Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't remember what eventually dethroned it, but in my original speculation tweet back in 2021, I was saying that it was probably going to be an upcoming Marvel movie. I'm sure it was. Back then, the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer reached 70 million views on YouTube. It became the 3rd most liked trailer ever. We've covered this all in the other video where it eventually goes on to become Warner Bros. Biggest trailer of all time, but it's just still really exciting, and I wanted to highlight it again because it was such a massive deal for Godzilla fans to get some big recognition, to get a big win. It felt very nice. It seemed that the world had given up on Godzilla vs. Kong. Nobody cared about it. Even I was sour on it until that trailer came out, and then everybody went, went, okay, I think we understand what this movie is gonna be. And then everybody went in on it. Well, for the most part. Disruptor Beam, one of the developers of an upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong mobile game, went bankrupt, and so the game never came out. That's why we don't have it. The MonsterVerse cabinet casino games did come out. There are promos for them, and I've talked about them in previous videos. Something that I will talk about in an upcoming video in a little more depth is Godzilla X The Day After Tomorrow. It is a Chinese mobile game, but for now, we have the reveal trailer for it, featuring clips from Godzilla vs. Kong interspliced together with clips from the game. Kind of a little bit showing off that they like modeled Godzilla's movements in the game after Godzilla's movements in the movie. It's pretty cool. I like the Godzilla model, and I think it's fun to see Godzilla get featured in a game like this. Another Godzilla vs. Kong crossover that happened around this time was Magic Dominion x Godzilla vs. Kong. We have another little trailer for that featuring the Magic Domain characters and then Godzilla and Kong. They've got some Godzilla vs. Kong backgrounds, Godzilla and Kong as little character pieces, and then they recreate the aircraft carrier fight. Although Kong's got the axe. In Los Angeles back in March of 2021, a Godzilla vs. Kong fan screening occurred. This was held at a drive-in theater where everybody got to come in, and they did a big event where they gave out Godzilla and Kong bags, and everybody got to have this really fun time. It sounded really exciting. Adam Wingard describes it as a cute little experience, and seeing the footage of it and stuff, it looks really fun. I wish I could have been there. That looks awesome. I'm really happy for anybody who got to go to that. That was the first premiere in America for the fans. Junkie XL, as we talked about in a previous video, dropped 2 tracks for Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong's theme and Godzilla's theme leading into Godzilla vs. Kong. I do feel a little guilty about making that video where I'm pretty harsh on that music. Although I do stand by it, I mean, those are genuine critiques that I have in that video. Junkie XL followed up by releasing these studio times, which is something that I did not know he does, but he does it for a lot of his movies. He does studio time on his YouTube channel. You can go check it out, link down below, where he'll break down the songs. He breaks down Godzilla's theme, he breaks down Kong's theme. They're each about an hour, and he'll go through why the theme is written the way it is, and he'll explain a lot of details on it. We actually hear extended versions of both Godzilla and Kong's theme that aren't even featured in the movie. Godzilla's theme in particular is way extended, and we don't even hear all of the bits of it into the movie, which means he's got a lot of material to work with going into his next film. It's really exciting to hear, and it's really fun to hear him explain why they're written the way they are. After hearing him talk about it, I go, okay, I kind of understand how we wound up with what we wound up with. I get why he says it's 40s inspired. I get why he was doing the things he was doing. I still don't agree with a lot of the things he was doing, but I really appreciate that he takes the time to interact with his fans the way he does, where not only will he show you the notes used so you can play along with him, you can learn the song with him. I still need to try that, see if it works. He'll sometimes tell you the samples he's used so you can go recreate it on your own, and then he'll break down the themes in a really insightful and helpful way. He is an incredibly smart, incredibly talented composer. I just don't agree with the choice he made for Godzilla's theme. Hearing him talk about Kong's theme was also really enlightening. It was really incredible hearing the way he describes Kong's journey through the film, going from Skull Island to the Hollow Earth, takes him from this normal jungle-rooted background into a much more synthy version, and it is something you hear in the movie, and it's noticeable, and I love the sound that they give the Hollow Earth. Of course, he doesn't really get into spoilers here, but he does describe that the journey he wanted Kong to go on in the film was one that was going to be echoed with Kong going from a normal jungle-rooted music background to something much different, taking him completely out of his element, and then through the sound, showing that journey using synth tones. The Godzilla vs. Kong full soundtrack was also released on YouTube. They did a full listen party, which is really fun. I didn't know they did that. Maybe I did know, but I chose not to listen to the soundtrack when it came out, and I'm very glad I did, because I went back and watched through a lot of this listening party, reading the live stream chat, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. Everybody in the chat is in there, and first of all, a lot of people are dropping spoilers, but also because a lot of people are able to figure out what's happening in the movie based on the music. I saw a lot of really funny comments whenever Godzilla's theme would rear up during one of the fight songs, and they'd all be commenting like, "Kong, run!" And it corresponds to a moment in the movie when Kong's getting his butt whooped by Godzilla. And then they all in the chat are able to figure out that the sad Kong theme that plays at the end of Mega is in fact Kong being defeated. They're all able to figure out that Kong is saving Godzilla from Mechagodzilla based on the music cues alone. Exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. The music tells a story, and the music tells the story of the movie. So listening to the music, you're able to figure out what the story of the film is. That's why I avoided the music when it first came out and waited to hear it in theaters along with the film. Alright guys, that'll do it for this one. This is just a random little one. Thank you all for watching. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Please consider supporting the Patreon down below. They are keeping the channel running. I know I say that, but I really mean it. I really appreciate their support. They truly are the reasons that I'm still able to make videos like this for you. So please consider checking out that Patreon link down below. below. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.